Hello and welcome to the NeurotechSF Hack Night for August 5th, 2021. I'm going to be doing a series of technical checks. This is the first test of the Crowdcast platform, so please bear with me. Today's meeting is sort of largely unlisted, but first off, let's see whether the YouTube functionality works. All right, look at that. We've got some people joining. Fantastic. Let's see how the presenter promotion. All right, Valeri. Invite on screen. Yes. Hey. All right, look at that. Holy Moses, this works. Hi, Valeri.
Hi.
Hey. So how does Crowdcast work?
Looks fine for now.
Right. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, anyway, thanks for. I just wanted to try this. Let's see. Have we got anyone else that's live now? Just you and me and NeurotechX Toronto. Okay, no worries. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Do me a favor. I'm going to try sharing. How about? Can you share a presentation and I'll do the same thing? And I just want to see if there are any different. Mm-hmm. By the way, Valeri, we are on YouTube. And there will be an archive, so I have no idea that you've been warned that literally nobody's watching.
Okay, I can see how I can share.
Okay, toggle video, toggle studio. That's a good question.
Options. Okay, let's press help. Okay, help is not something new.
Oh, it's in
I found.
Yeah, top of the screen. Yeah, it's like share screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we show up in the bottom left. Excellent. Okay, no, this is fantastic. And that means that you can see the content and you can see the audience reacting to it. So, like, if I was going thumbs up,
Suppose we can't make the sharing.
I wonder.
Nothing allows make the sharing.
No. I can share screen. I think. I'll open up a Chrome that I'll share. Okay. So yeah, it does the same thing. Looks good. This is YouTube, all that is. Yeah, works great. So, okay, Crowdcast looking good. Basically, I think this is going to be the last of the platform changes that we do for this series. So with Crowdcast, we are moving to the Neurotech umbrella. And now we're able to schedule like an actual series for these webinars. So what I'm probably going to do is do it month by month. So like maybe people sign up for like the August webinar series and, they'll get the invites for August.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. So this is going to be the new way that we're going to be presenting and talking with people. The YouTube live streaming works perfectly. There's no extra stuff needed, and I don't have to juggle the audio or the local recording. So on my end, it seems like we're in really good shape for webinar action. And in other good news, since we're actually live, the Neurosity crown has arrived. So here it is in all its glory. So if you want to count, there are 10 electrodes. But 2 of these are clearly used for reference because you'll get 8 electrodes live. And yeah, right here, the crown units have arrived. These flexible electrodes are excellent. Hold on a second. have to. There's a manufacturer. Uh, just see if I can get the name.
It's passive electrodes, right?
Yeah, it's. I think they're Austrian, and they're active. They're active electrodes, and they're conductive rubber. Yeah, so they're not metallic, and they're active. The electrodes are from. Well, hold on a second. Let's see. Uh,
While you're searching, I'll go take a drink.
Sounds good.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Buttons for toggling video or microphone not working. I can't turn myself
Oh,
off.
like up top.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me try toggling you. No, you're right. It doesn't work. Right. Okay, that's very interesting. I can take you off the stage. Let me do that. One moment.
No need.
Uh, yeah. So apologies. That's interesting that it doesn't. Okay, I can toggle video for myself, but not for you. So maybe you don't have permissions, like you're just an attendee. Let's see. I can invite you on screen. All right. Excellent. Cool. So this is, yes. Excellent. Okay, great. So anyway, I'll get the exact manufacturer, but the good news is that the electrodes are great, and I'm still looking to see if I can get the name. Otherwise, we'll just. Okay, so the good news is the crown is here all the same, regardless of the manufacturer of the electrodes, and it looks really good, and it works really well. So one of the biggest advantages, I would say, to this device is the ability to actually use Wi-Fi. I know that seems like a small thing, Bluetooth for most of these devices, but Bluetooth really limits you to being within a few feet of the collection device, and it's really prone to interference. It's got deliverability issues, and it's not a protocol that was designed for sort of real-time communication. It was meant for receiving an audio stream in a way that sort of was assumed to not be super time dependent. Like if you have a little bit of a delay, the music's playing a quarter second after Spotify plays it. Does it matter? No. So in terms of what the spec was trying to do, Bluetooth is great. In terms of being able to get samples reliably and know that they're arriving on time, Wi-Fi is so much better. So the fact that the Neurosity Crown has a quad-core processor, has 8 gigs of RAM, has Wi-Fi, has all those other things, means that from a usability standpoint, it's surprising how flexible it is. So I was able to do recordings outside in my garden, which I thought was pretty cool because I do have Wi-Fi range there. I'm able to do a recording like while I'm watching TV or something, even though I don't have a computer right in front of it. But it doesn't matter because I'm streaming the data through Wi-Fi. So the Crown has been absolutely excellent. I'll show some of the functionality in a bit in terms of how it works. But these electrodes are really high quality, really soft, really conductive, and quite comfortable. So I have to say that I was hoping that this would turn out the way it did, um, and I was hoping that it wouldn't be bad news. And from what I can tell, the Crown worked out great. So it's oh yes, yes I can. All right. Going to invite Valeri and NeurotechX Toronto. Feel free to turn your stuff off, but we're testing the functionality as well.
Great.
Great. Hi, Valeri. Ah, Chris.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good. I wanted to check in.
Yeah, the platform looks great, and I wanted to try the functionality. I like the way Crowdcast lets you do these speaker conversations, and when you share a screen, it kind of puts it in a nice way in sort of the background. So,
Amazing.
like if I share my Google Chrome tab, um, you know, like right here, it's kind of like we're having a panel discussion around the source. But I think that's great. Like that's exactly what I was hoping for. So far it looks great, and it simultaneously streams to YouTube with nothing required. If you just set up the channel keys when you go live, then it streams the broadcast as well.
Amazing.
Yes. So I have to say that this is going really well, and I think this is going to work perfectly for our needs. I was able to schedule a couple more meetings, and so yeah, I think we're just going to do this sort of like a monthly webinar series that people can sign up for.
Sounds good. And did you try out if you do a connection to a Facebook livecast, it should work also as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pro account or whatever only allows one simultaneously, so I'm using it for YouTube. But if we had the fanciest account, you can do 3 concurrently with that one.
Got it.
So you could do
Amazing.
Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube with that plan.
Yeah.
So, but the Crown is really decent. Have you experimented with this, Chris?
Yeah. The story of the electrodes is
Oh yeah, sorry, you're the guy that knows the electrodes. What's the manufacturer?
Datweiler.
Detweiler. All right, so these are
It's
Detweiler electrodes.
from
Okay.
Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good. It's silver chloride on conductive rubber. It's comfy. Yeah, I think it's that WYLER.
Oh, WYLER. All right. Hey, there we go. The soft pulse Datweiler. There we go.
There it is.
Yes. Conductive polymer. Yeah. Dry acquisition. Yes. Robust, cleaned, and used repeatedly. And they do include a spare set of electrodes, which is really nice.
How many do they have?
Well, one set. So it comes with 10 in the device and 10 more in a pouch.
Wow. That's expensive.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure I can find this in the Neurosity docs, but they use 8 channels and they have 10 electrodes. Do you know which 2 they use for reference?
I think it might be the ones on the top, like not on the wings. Can you show it in a bigger picture?
Yeah, here, I'll stop sharing and then you can kind of.
See, the wings is probably, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
So I was thinking it could be this. It could be the two in the rear because that's kind of not too close to anything. So I could see those being references, or I could see them picking one on these four to act as a reference for that wing. You know what I mean? So I could see that there's like one reference per thing, in which case the two references would be over here, or it could be that these act like references, in which case the reference is kind of like the back of the head.
Does the crown come with the user manual?
It does, but it doesn't explain which electrode is the reference.
Oh yeah. Okay, some feedback. It might be on the wings. So how do you wear it? Is the bulky part on the front or the back?
The back. So you just basically put it on like this. So the bulky part with the battery and the Wi-Fi is on the back of your head, and it kind of rests and push down on the whole thing. And then here you have these things, you can expand them, and you can also expand and contract the thing. So you've got some
Telescopic.
flexibility, yeah. So for different head sizes. One
Though,
of the things
sorry, I think you could eventually wear it also the other way around, because of the flexibility of the design. You could have the bulky on the front.
yeah, I think that I mean, you could, yeah. It's sort of an odd fit, but yeah, I mean, presumably electrodes are electrodes.
I don't know. I wouldn't put reference and ground if the most comfortable way of wearing it is on the back. I
Hmm.
wouldn't put electrodes for reference and ground on the back. I
Hmm.
would put it on the wings. But that's a question for AJ.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, I'm sure they found the best trade-off in terms of like, signal quality and location and all that. I just would like to know which one it is so that I kind of know which one's the dead electrodes. When I say, just the ones that don't have any real signal, so I don't worry about their fit as much.
Oh, I found they have information about
Oh,
reference. They say T7 and T8 electrodes. I think
okay.
it's somewhere in the back.
Okay, so then it is the two back ones.
Oh,
No, it's
No.
on the sides.
Oh, it is on the wings. All right.
yeah.
Good
T is
guess.
temporal.
Yeah. So T7 and T8, that's the one closest to the inside, you think? Oh, geez, sorry about the lighting. Um, it could be this one, I suppose. The bottom on the wings. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. It's a 1020 system.
Yeah, I think this is closest to temporal. So I would assume that if T7 T8, if I had to guess, it would be the bottom one on the wings. So like the lowest.
It's T78 is along the midline on a coronal section. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be whatever is along your tip of the head on the wing. Like if you cut your head right in the middle from
No, no,
CZ,
no. I'm tracking, but I don't know what electrode would be equivalent to that. So you think like top of the wing,
is there a way I can share
the
my screen? Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
there
absolutely.
you go. That's so cool. Look at this one.
Yes, yes, we've got it. Nice.
So T7 and T8. So it's around the ears.
So
Stopping.
right, and that's what I was saying. I think let's see, what's the closest to the ears? It's the bottom of these electrodes, right?
Hmm.
Like of all of these, it's not going to be the back, and I think it would be reference and bias T7 and T8. So I'm guessing it's these. I'm
Yeah,
guessing it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
ones on the back.
What it bends upwards.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Cool. Yeah.
I think it's this one. So yeah, I think that's pretty neat. The device works great, and the signal quality is excellent. I have one report. Let's see. Let me share this one. Share screen. PDF. Here is the report that we generated off the very first crown data. Some of these electrodes didn't have a good fit. I'm still working on kind of parsing their fit quality metrics. But yeah, for everything else, like you can see the AC spikes with the harmonics really clearly. Definitely high signal quality there. Same here. And so you can see how clearly that comes through. And then here
The
is the foof
harmonic
fix.
at 80 hertz.
Yeah,
70.
or like 75 or something. Yeah. And then there's
Sub,
one at 120 for sure.
it's a subharmonic. 60 and 20 is vanilla, but 75 is some sort of a subharmonic.
Right.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. And here is what the foof plots look like in log, and these are amazing. So the fact that the background fit and the oscillations kind of fit so nicely on the line is a really, really good sign. So like this channel 4 foof fit is phenomenal, meaning that this is a really good isolation of the periodic activity versus the aperiodic stuff in the background.
And the crown has an integration with BrainFlow too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, although this data we collected just using their LSL functionality from the console. Um, but yes, they do have uh, the the BrainFlow integration, and we have a script that connects to their board. We verified that the Unicorn BrainFlow stuff worked last week. So we're going to be using BrainFlow for the crown as well. Just we started with LSL because that's right in their console.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think this is really exciting. The emoted bit we've almost got working. Like in terms of the device itself, it works great. But getting the data off is a little more challenging. The Open Frameworks LSL stuff isn't quite ready to go, which is reasonable. They're a year away from public launch, so that's fine. But we're working on the Wi-Fi test executable that they include with the software package. And I'll show people. So if I share the screen, great. So the Emotibit works great. So this is, oh, right. I'm sorry. I disconnected the battery. It does not work great when you do that. Okay. One moment. Oh, did I put the battery? Ah, right under it. Okay. All right. And it should be connecting. All right. There we go. So this is the Emotibit EEG, or I'm sorry, console. And it's got the PPG metrics. It's got the EDA. It's got the humidity and the temp. It's got the thermometer. And then the accelerometer gyro. So like right now I'm waving it around, which I think you can see with my hand. And, you know, here's the responses. And then if I hold it still like this, all this stuff flattens out. So yeah, they have a OSC output, which is cool, but the LSL stuff is not enabled in the software distro. And we're just kind of working on how to actually stream the data. So adding the LSL module into this software currently is kind of dicey. but I think we'll get it working eventually. It's close to working, but this is going to be really nice because when we combine the crown, the eye tracker, and the Emotibit, I feel pretty happy about the level of multimodality on what we're collecting, and the fact that it's all integrated and synchronized. Definitely is pretty cool.
What's your eye tracker?
The Tobii.
How many hertz?
We have several different models, but we have a 90 hertz model, a 120 hertz model, and a 250 hertz model that we use. It just depends on how much precision you need versus how much you want to pay.
And the drivers, you got the drivers with the hardware.
For the Tobii hardware, yes, Tobii's really good about software. They write the user-facing drivers are very reliable, and then their SDK is very reliable. Their documentation is very good. Tobii's a very, very well-run company.
But it's not a wearable, right? You have it in front of your computer.
They do have a wearable, but that's not the one that we use. And the reason for that is largely because it costs a lot of money. But they do have this, the Tobii Pro glasses.
And you have this in your suite?
We support it. We just don't have anyone that's using this currently. But the data is the same. The data flows are the same. It's just same interface, same API, just different device that you talk to.
Okay. What's the price point of these glasses?
These are really expensive. The previous model, the Tobii 2, was approximately $30,000. So there is a cheaper
Pupillabs, yeah, from Berlin.
Yeah, yes, and you can get these for like $5,000.
Slick. It's a slick design.
Yeah, it's nice. The world camera works well. The individual eye cameras work well. It's quite slick for what it is. In the sense of it gets you up and running, it gets you collecting eye data. This is the version that we had purchased.
Cool.
It does make you look like a board, which is pretty cool as well.
Do you have to be attached to a computer, because I see it's tethered, right?
Or a laptop, some device that yes. Mm-hmm. It has to be powered by USB.
Got it. And there is no perfect solution.
For eye tracking, I think VR is the closest thing, which is, you're already wearing a device and you're not really moving anywhere. But yeah, outside of VR, it's really tough.
They do have, Pupillabs already have come up with the design exactly. They come, as an inset for the VR headset. I wonder if they have the same for AR.
Let's see here. They have the binocular add-on. They have a HoloLens, an Epson, and a Vive.
Isn't the HoloLens compatible with the AR?
Yeah, I would think so. The AR, yeah, right here.
Okay, then they're not tethered. Should be without cable, that one.
Yeah, I wonder if Yeah, that one I think. Well, I can't get the product details, but I think these are just an add-on set with 2 cameras and one real world. So I don't know if this one is fully printed or it's just the specs. a lot of these, you kind of choose whether you want them manufactured or not. But I would guess that for this money, they send it to you.
I think the upgrade that they have, as opposed to the ones that you attach to the VR headset, is that they're based out of cameras and machine learning algorithm, deep learning algorithms that decode the position of the pupils from cameras, in fact. So that's the difference with the Tobii, maybe.
Okay, sorry. I'm just trying out the software. Yeah, so I've been very, very pleased with the Tobii software and hardware. They're an excellent eye tracking partner, and I'm excited to see how the Galia integration is going to go off, because we've got the BrainFlow support already, but I'm definitely interested to see when like beta units are going to be out in the wild.
Oh wow, that's a nice effect.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's the stage of completion of Galea?
Okay, so the Media Lab guy. Guillermo Bernal. Let's go look at his stuff. I think this is the Medium article that they did. Here's the Emotibit promo. But I did see Ryan had a more recent tweet that we covered on a recent Hack Night. But yeah, this stuff is coming along from what I understand, and the latest hardware revision makes it so that these arms are flexible instead of fixed. So the same way that you can kind of like bend the Neurosity crown a little bit, these aren't going to be rigid either. But it looks like the manufacturing and the assembly is going well.
And who has the recent tweet? Ryan Pikeland?
Yeah, well, he shared it, but it was from a different person. It was from like a VR Twitter person that has like a big following on Twitter, and apparently they got their hands on a unit and took a photo.
Got it.
That photo, I'm sorry, I don't recall where it was, but
Do you know Richard W? He wants to discuss these aspects.
oh, okay. Is he? Hey, it's Richard. Well, welcome to the stage, Richard. All right, he'll pop up when
Hello.
when he connects. Howdy, Richard.
Hey,
This is my favorite view of all. The infinite.
Well, welcome to Crowdcast. It's amazing.
No, I like the infinite window when it goes down like that.
Mm-hmm.
hey Richard.
Yeah, Valeria wants to join in too. He said.
Oh, excellent.
Let me. What questions y'all have about Galia while you're on that topic? Galia, excuse me.
Any updates?
Are we being recorded right now?
Yes, and on YouTube and all that stuff. So
Hey,
it's
Valeria.
okay if you're being evasive.
Oh, I think
It's okay if you're vague.
somebody's got an echo. Is it Valeria?
I think it might be.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So we are not a game development company, obviously,
Mhm.
but we are chugging away at a few basic examples to show people that want to be in the next phase of development. Is that
Beautiful.
that's relatively vague? I mean,
Yes,
it makes
that's-
perfect sense, right?
Mhm,
Like I just said, we're not a game development company, but we have a really talented intern for the summer, which I've been told. I've been really impressed with his work. He's I don't know if I want to disclose who it is.
No, that's fine.
Since
That's
he's
fine. It
not
doesn't
here.
matter, right? Yeah.
He comes from a neurotech lab, but
Great.
he is highly skilled in Unity, and he's actually running circles around the guy that we interviewed specifically for Unity, who didn't decide to join our team. And thankfully, he said he wants to do some hours in the fall with us, and hopefully that means he'll help follow through with the demos and stuff like that.
That's wonderful.
So
That's
I
wonderful.
probably shouldn't. Yeah, I probably shouldn't speak as to what exactly the demos are. One
Sure,
I've mentioned over in NeurotechSF Nights, which I don't know if we started on yet, but we need to do it. Was Richie's Plank?
Yes,
'Cause,
that one we definitely wanted to.
It's like
we got
guaranteed
the,
emotional response.
absolutely. We got the thing, and actually, that's the one that I wanted to use for the skin conductance baselining as well.
And that's not hard. I mean, I guess we just need to find objects for tall buildings and then put a little plank across it. And then there you go. I guess maybe we should talk about how wide the plank is, and then I guess that demo will be done.
Right.
Because you don't want it to be too wide, but maybe it should be kind of wide until you're like, oh, I'm safe, and then you look over the edge, and then there's that emotional.
I do think it's also funny how it takes you up on that elevator. I think that's part of the visceral experience.
Oh, that's part of it too. Is to. Oh yeah. Oh, I should write the. I can say this. I'm a composer, and I've been asked to hopefully provide some of the music for these demos, and that'll be fun.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. I'm excited to hear the Richard music live.
I've got plenty of resources, but that sounds like a great opportunity to write some killer elevator music.
I always like the smooth jazz songs of.
Is this live data from your Emotivit?
Yes.
Oh, cool. What is? Let me look.
Well, I'm not actually wearing it.
Oh, what's it doing?
It's
chilling.
Chilling right here. This is it's emotive bidding.
You know what I like? It's not. I think it's drawing. I think the frame rate is perfectly fine, but that's just literally how often the packets come in. What other questions y'all have about Galia before we move on to something else?
What does clipping events mean up here?
Oh, never mind. I guess we move on to something else.
No, I mean the Galia. I'm just talking about this particular output.
You were talking about eye tracking before we got sidetracked.
Yes. Is Toby's eye tracking implemented in the Galia yet, or are they waiting for a later stage of development to actually put their kit in?
Oh, I can tell you somebody's tried it already.
So it's there. Great.
Oh, excellent. It's in it. Yeah, but more realistically, some people might want it without the eye tracking unit in it.
Sure.
What's the sampling frequency of the Toby eye track that we can see on the Galia?
It's probably whatever the best one that they make is. It's probably that.
Well, they have a couple of research ones that are nuts, and so they're not going to do like the 1,000 or 2,000 hertz that their Spectrum does. But yeah, the 3 Toby frame rates that I would suspect are. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Toby uses a specific platform for most of their stuff, and so their current one is called the IS5 platform. And so this is the circuit board with the emitter and the camera and all that other stuff.
Do they make one that's supposed to go in? Are they listing something that's supposed to go in VR headsets on their product page?
They used to sell it piecemeal, but now they just have it as an integration thing. Like if you go to vr.toby.com, you can see their VR-specific integrations, and if you go to ar.tobii.com, you can see
So it
that.
does say they're open to talking about it if you contact them, kind of.
Well, they have a bunch, I think.
Oh.
They did the HTC Vive originally. They had a kit that they were selling, and then they made it a unified unit, and now I think they're just working on the Galia as their research device.
Its image sampling rate and gauge frequency is 133 hertz, non-interlaced.
Yes.
Non-interlaced gaze at 33 hertz, whatever that means.
It's if you want to track the eyes fully independently versus interlaced. It's not necessary to do full independent tracking most of the time, so you're better off with the higher frame rate. But if you need it, you can do that mode too.
And that's mostly, for now, as I understand it, it's like a special deal because the first version of the Galia was with an index. So that means they're not really fitting the Tobii eye tracker into the Galia. They're fitting it into the index, and the Galia goes around it. To be a little more specific. And I like that you pointed out about those little arms on the back. We learned something that, like that design, it doesn't, depending on your head shape in the back and how, and the head shape and the size of your head. Sometimes you'd get like this happening with your head instead of flat contact like this.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
And speaking of that, I work sent me the active electrodes, the conscious.
Oh, the kit, right? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, to help debug and get to the bottom of people that are having issues with it. And I think it's just that maybe not enough people have tried it, so I'm gonna keep testing it and getting to the bottom of it. The number one thing I found was just dropping the gain to 1 on the Cyton for the ADS 1299 setting. And then once I dropped that gain to 1, everything showed up beautiful. And the eye blinks, oh my gosh. Max UPRMS was like 9 to 10. So that means my noise floor was like below 1 UVRMS.
Right. I'm glad that it's nice to see all of these rubberized active electrodes in the market, because I have to say that form factor with the metallic ones was really difficult for people to tolerate.
Yeah, they're not that comfortable. But you know what? I see my hair. I have really thick hair, and it's kind of long. I might actually end up mixing and you can do that with the Cyton. It's kind of cool. You might mix the active electrodes. They do great, absolutely killer on the forehead with the flat ones. But the ThinkPulse active ones, the combs aren't really that long.
Right.
And I have to use the long comb electrodes on my head. And plus you can use the comfort electrodes. They're like little springs with a flat thing.
Someone mentioned that the Neurosity Crown had the option of using like longer Detweiler electrodes, but they ended up going with the short design. I wonder if down the road they'll have like an option to choose.
I mean, Detweiler electrodes, they use the same stamp for longer, short pins.
Right.
So the prongs are really not the limiting factor. So you can make it as long as you want, and if you do some tooling with Detweiler, they allow for that.
Valery, do you have any questions about what you see on the screen right here for me?
No. While you are talking, I'm Googling everything that I don't get. So everything is fine for now. Thank you.
And I don't know if you were here when he mentioned Guillermo. Guillermo is a researcher at MIT, and he's the man who developed the FacePad portion. He met Connor, and they're like, yo, we can like make a whole headset type thing. And here we are. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm glad to hear that that's chugging along. Like I said, we've gotten BrainFlow working. We've collected off of the Unicorn Black. We've collected off of the Crown. And we've been able to pipe BrainFlow data to LSL very gracefully. So we have kind of a wrapper that just takes any BrainFlow stream and pushes it to LSL. So I think everything that we need for the Galia is pretty much ready. And
Did you make that wrapper public on GitHub, or is it private?
We could. I wasn't sure if it would cause political problems, but yeah, it's just. I'd be happy to share it if it doesn't stir the waters too much.
Okay, the only waters you're going to stir is that Andre doesn't like LSL.
Well, that's what I mean. So I don't really want to battle with him about like putting it in the
we already
repo.
did this too. We already did this too. We got BrainFlow Python. Somebody wanted an LSL stream, and I'm like, if you're already visualizing your data on the other end, you don't have to use the OpenBCI GUI. Like seriously, just grab your data with BrainFlow, spit it out via LSL, and send it.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's a very short
there.
script. Yeah. You just do that. Right. Example. Like, hey, when you pull a new sample, push it to the LSL outlet. Right.
And what you really need to do is add the extra parameters like electrode locations and a couple of other stuff, and you really get a little bit more data than,
Yeah, that's all we needed to do. You know, how you want the stream descriptors built, the characteristics, but yeah.
Did anybody see, maybe to move on to something else, did anybody see in the NeurotechX Slack the guy that shared a new company out of India?
No, but I'm happy to take a look. Does anyone have the name of it? We can take a look in chat.
Yeah. I guess it was in general.
But
what about
just to finish up, Chris, the fancier platform that Toby has is 250 hertz. So depending on what backbone they're using for this way you can share. Depending on what backbone they're using for the chip, but it would be really nice if it was 250 hertz. But I'm skeptical. I think it would be more like 120 or 133 if I had to guess.
120 sounds cool because if you can run the display at 60, that means you get two data points per frame.
Exactly. It's an even
and you know what I'm thinking? Really, since we're doing this integration with VR, everything's really later on just going to be mapped to a frame timestamp, right? If you're wanting to compare what happened in the video stream to the all the data.
Yeah, there's a bunch of schemes for how you like key or index stuff. And yeah, you can definitely use any of those references.
Or I guess maybe you just don't think of frames as the lowest common denominator, but just time itself, and then everything fits within that. Like here was the timestamp of the eye, here was a frame, here was EEG packet, and it just goes on and on like that, I guess.
So yeah, I have to say I'm very excited to see when the integration will get on the market. The dev studios that are going to be checking out the Galia seem very exciting, and the kernel devices have started arriving. I think the first one arrived this week.
I want to know how much those cases cost. Golly.
I want to know how much the devices cost. I still haven't seen. Does anybody have an estimate?
It's got to be at least 50.
I gotta think it's at least 50, if not 100. But I've never seen a price. So
John Griff will be getting one, right?
Yeah, but have they actually quoted him, or are they just giving him one for research?
Which one, the OPM ones or the FNIRS one?
The kernel flow, the
FNIRS device, the whole head FNIRS.
This one.
Yep.
How do I mute my microphone? There.
There's a little toggle right above you. This one. They did but yeah, this was the Flow serial number 1. The case is fancy. I think they spent like $1,000 just on that Pelican case, right? I mean, I'm
glad you know the name of that. Yes, but I think it's like yo, do we really want our stuff being broken in transit and it's going to be flown out? And I think another trick they used, they said it in that video, was that, yo, we're just going to next day air it to them.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
how you
cool
do it.
because then you
It's
minimize
easier
the
to
amount of
ship
time.
because you don't have to deal with it, right? So that's what we use to ship our eye trackers as well for that exact reason. FedEx and UPS aren't weird about shipping these, so you don't need to box them in any separate way. And yeah, you just slap the label on it and you're done. It's nice.
Well, the two things they probably had to ship that I guess next day air, I mean, you can't just not ship things, but it's got lasers and batteries in it. And that's the one reason that OpenBCI doesn't ship with batteries, because we need like additional certifications to handle them and ship them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes from like a fulfillment center, people that keep our stuff on hand. I don't know.
Ah, here we go. There it is. There's the case. Yeah, it's gotta be. It gets dropped off on your desk.
I was about to say it would have been funny to see him drop it.
No, boy.
I want to see the what's his face right there, cringe.
It's I'm excited they ship this. I do think it's cool the way that you have this modular ability to decide if these are EEG or FNIRS on a array by array basis. So I think it's really cool that you can kind of like mix and match FNIRS and EEG, targeting all the spots where it's kind of most useful for each, and that's really cool. So congratulations to Kernel. I mean, I have to say on a personal level, right? If you look at where this was 5 years ago, the devices available to the community were so limited. It was just Emotive doing the proprietary stuff, which was whatever. But the OpenBCI was kind of our flag carrier. That was sort of the one choice we had other than Muse. And it's just to see the whole ecosystem blossom now is awesome, and to see the sophistication is awesome.
I'm not so upset about this because we're still offering consumer slash research grade. Big emphasis on the slash there, because you can be a consumer and then go into the research space with OpenBCI gear. But this is a different technology. It's FNIRS.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different market.
I asked Brian, I think, maybe not Brian, whoever the guy is that's the CTO guy over the project, not the head leader guy. He came in and talked, and I was asking him, hey, what about getting two of those to attach to another system? But if they want these to be in every home, maybe that's what they're going to do eventually. You give the researchers initially the whole head version, and you find out what applications can be used and what spots, and then build a new headset with like 2 modules.
Right.
And then that's got to drop that guy. He came in and talked, but we weren't allowed to record it because he might have.
Right, Brian Field. He does a teardown on the electrodes right here. You can see the array. So that's what it looks like with the fancy plastic removed, the shell. And those are the back of your electrode arrays and the business end of them as well.
Do you think they have in-house fabrication?
I wonder. It's all economies of scale. Wearable Sensing down in San Diego does do them in-house. They do assemble them in San Diego by hand. Neurosity recently did their assembly run in Canada, just from the emails that was happening there. So that also seems like it was hand assembled. And Eno did assembly in China. So it seems like you can kind of do mix and match, but I guess the fancier you are, the more likely you are to have in-house assembly.
I was thinking actually more on a lower level. OpenBCI's, the Ultra Cortexes are pro-assembled by a group called Tangible Creative in New York City.
Well, yeah, you can definitely have like.
But like those little plastic parts, do you think they have their own injection molder there?
That's a great question. Or they went with a third party that provided them. It does seem like people go with another company for like these specialized components, like the actual electrode heads themselves, just because they're like precision parts. But yeah, I really do wonder how much of this they had to do themselves and how much this is off the shelf.
Hey, before I go, I gotta ask Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, Richard, I'm doing well. I'm, listening to this amazing webinar, getting to know the platform Crowdcast that we will also use in the meetings next week on Wednesdays. So please come and see. We're gonna have two guests. One is actually Kyle Mathewson, and we speak about FNIRS. So that's also interesting for this discourse. And then we have Alex Nee, who everybody knows, and they're both based in Canada. So I think it's going to be an interesting session.
That seems like an easy topic there. Just float the, hey, Kyle, what do you think about the kernel flux?
There you go.
Sure, he's got plenty to say.
Please, if
It's
that's
gonna
not a
open-
question on the agenda, I will put it on the agenda through the Q&A panel. All right, hold on. We're
Do
trying
that.
the
Do that.
Hold on. I'm doing a poll.
It's on the abstract anyway that we're gonna speak about kernel. It's unavoidable.
Yeah, and I found that website that was dropped in NeurotechXF.
All right. Which company is that?
Somebody called me. Oh, my baby.
All right.
Pieces
Mhm.
just
Sure.
how
Yeah,
to
so-
walk
mhm.
so this.
All right. So, and now we have the poll as well. So anyway, yeah, it looks like those controls work pretty good. I think we've got the basics covered for the meeting. And yeah, so I'm super excited about the crown. Like I said, we started data collection. The LSL stream works perfectly. And I approved Valeri's request for the GitHub. So thank you for doing the pull request, Valeri. Now we've got the analysis notebook that you put up available. So now that I have the crown, I do plan to re-record the spicy data from the crown as well, just so that we have it for comparison. And then I think I'd like to put together like a set of analyses that we actually feature next week. So I think I'm going to try using your code and our report and the ability to compare things. And so kind of like what I'm thinking is for our first semi-scheduled webinar, we'll go over the spicy data next week. That's going to be kind of
That's
fun
great.
to start with.
Cool.
And as far as I'm concerned, if we see the same pattern in my data show up on both devices, I imagine the magnitude of the response is going to be different. But if we see the same things, I think that really tells us that, there's a consistency there that might be the way that I respond to spicy food.
What food did you use?
It is, not food per se.
Scoville rated, or it's just tie-in drops?
Yeah, it doesn't have a Scoville rating. And if it did, I actually think that the index thing would be kind of cool. What I would like to do as a project, as a follow-up, is a spicy calculator where you take a known dose of something that's like 100 Scovilles, right? Let's just go for that. And we measure the magnitude of your response. And from that, we determine what's your optimum spicy level for food. I think that would be pretty cool if it actually worked properly.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to know how spicy it was, but because you're looking at the response. Did you? But
Well,
here,
you
I got
can-
the easy measurement from Louisiana. Did it make you sweat?
Right. Well, right. That's what I mean, though. Like, let's say we find that the baseline alpha for someone is at 4. I'm just making something up, right? And let's say that if you give them a little bit of spicy, it goes to 6. If you give them a decent spicy, it goes to 8. And if you give them way too much spicy, it goes to 10. My point is, if you have a known quantity of spicy application and you know how much you're expecting it to deflect, if you give someone 100 and their alpha just goes to 6, you're like, oh, okay, you have a high tolerance for spicy. We're going to give you the strong stuff. And if you give someone that same 100 units of Scoville and now their alpha goes to 12, and you go, okay, you are not, qualified on the spicy food. But that's where I think, right? So if you have a known unit and then you know the magnitude of the response, then you can infer their specific sensitivity.
What does the
What I
research
like
say?
about
Sorry, what does the research say about perception of spicy food in
Not a
terms of?
lot. The research really talks about perception of pain for the most part. That's the closest thing that I could find. And the pain research is kind of like they evaluate people with chronic conditions a lot of the time. So can you detect pain in EEG? Yes, there's no question about that in the literature. But are there research papers talking about finding the difference between pleasurable pain and painful pain and magnitude of pain? I haven't found studies that address that.
Interesting. I would have expected differently, but alpha oscillations are also a measure of arousal. So, and I don't know if it goes with the high alpha, high arousal. Probably it's the other way around, right?
Right.
But you might expect a decreased alpha power, maybe.
Well,
Is this whole head?
what if we
What's
look
that?
at the data?
Is this
I'll
whole
show you.
head that you're talking about, or what specific
No, this
cycle?
was off the Muse. This is the spicy challenge, the stuff that we were doing.
No, I mean, what's Chris talking about?
Yeah, I think it's these standard EEG, arousal papers.
What do they usually look? What part of the brain, or did they average the whole head?
Yeah, I would have to look it up.
Oh.
So here is a good one. If you look at the power, you see these plots. This is 0 to 30 hertz, and you can see that in the orange one, it's the baseline, and in the blue one, I do the spicy food halfway through. You can definitely see the difference.
Wow.
So, given that there's such a clear deflection, I feel like we can go one step further and quantify the amount of deflection and relate that to the amount of spiciness that you find pleasurable. I mean,
Compared to the baseline.
Right, exactly. Precisely.
Can I point out one important part of the study that I like that you shared? The stimulus or the stimuli, stimulus that you shared. My problem was that I used chili peppers and I had to crunch them, and I was so worried that the crunching, the EMG would contaminate it. And you're like, well, I kind of did some denoising, but doing the drops just removes that that variable.
And
that's I really should have
liquid.
I should have used a liquid.
Well, I'm happy to Amazon you the oil if you want some, or if you want to grab some.
We got hot sauce down here, but that would have been a nice control to.
John used. John used the hot chili seasoning, like Asian sweet chili sauce.
Liquid.
Sauce.
Yeah. To further extend the study, I think maybe you or me or somebody could put in the things. It's best to use a liquid so you don't contaminate with chewing.
Yeah, I mean, I told people both in the sense of I'd rather have their chewing data than none at all. But yeah, if they have something, I'm gonna rerun it with the Crown, and if I can get the LSL stuff working on the Emotibit, which so far we haven't been able to get it to compile, but then I would like to get skin temperature and conductance as well. Like we should be able to correlate all of it.
Yo, Sean wants to hear about that.
Oh.
Maker of the Emotibit, he wants to hear about that.
Okay, that's cool. Ori, yes, Ori, you have been promoted, a battlefield promotion, as we verify how many people we can get up here. We've got Neurotech's Toronto, RW, Valeri. Can we have more than 4 on the screen?
I like that when you share videos on here, they show up just fine and they're not that distorted.
Nice. 4 live now. Let's see. Invite on screen.
He's probably given it permissions to.
I wonder if it doesn't let you do more than 4. Is that I think that's the Crowdcast limit, or is it 6? Crowdcast presenter limit.
4.
4 screens at once. Okay. So, I'm going to promote Ori and demote myself. Let's see how this works. All right. Close the video. And, video. Yeah. All right. So now, can we invite him on screen? Does that count as on screen or not?
We can still hear you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think I have to like demote myself.
Mm.
I don't think you
I've
can
been
demote
fired.
yourself.
Yes, I have. Oh.
You're the host. I don't think you're
He's
allowed.
on the phone. Colonel Flux, overhyped.
Oh,
or
he's
under?
on the phone. Okay, no worries. Welcome, Ori. Valeri, you've been promoted again. I'm just inviting everyone at some point. Welcome to the most organized hack night you've ever seen. I'm going to put this back on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're
He
rocking
did
and
a
rolling.
poll, and I see the poll. He said overhyped or underhyped. I think it's reasonably hyped.
Nice. Hold on. I'll add one more.
It's certainly
There we
cool,
go.
and it's cool that they got fit all the little lasers in there. And I asked the research guy, and they had to drop the power of the lasers, but just enough so they could still do the F-nears. Like, it's really cool. Anything with lasers is cool. Yeah, sharks with freaking laser beams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, we need F-nears on a shark. I don't know if it would work through their blubber skin.
Examining the shark's blood flow with various stimuli. Oh man. So, hold on. Accepted and connecting. Have we got Ori joining us on the stage? We'll see shortly.
Can you,
But yeah.
Chris? Can you speak about things that you're working on with Ant now?
Sure, for sure. I don't know if you have seen, but BrainFlow has a release also for the ANT Neuro Mini amplifier.
Yeah, I didn't understand what exactly devices
I
he was adding.
I saw those 3 boards get added. The most recent 3.
Let me
Is
see.
that for the mobile system?
Yeah, it's this one.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
It's cute, and I don't know if I need to demo it, but I accidentally have a cap here, also with dry electrodes.
A cap with dry electrodes? Mm.
Ta-da! 8 electrodes, dry.
Oh,
Very
let me see the little spikies. Oh, nice
wow.
and long, and it has a lot of prongs too.
Let me try. I'm not gonna hear you for a bit while I wear the cap, because I'm gonna have to take my headphones off.
Oh wow, nice. Just putting on the cap. Nice.
Have you used an Ant device, Alex?
I have not had a chance to try their device yet.
Did they
It's
mostly
got the strap.
sell only for
By the way,
researchers?
the strap is one thing that I was considering adding to the crown potentially. The weight of the unit pushes it down, definitely. But I could see putting a strap on the bottom so that you can apply weight around your chin would be perfect, and I think that would increase the contact quality. So
You should be able to do that with like some Velcro.
exactly, yeah, like get like a
Like
Velcro
wrap the
loop.
Velcro
Mhm.
around the sides.
Around each of the arms, right, and then have like a adjustable strap with a clip. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was gonna look at some stuff on Amazon that might be the right size.
Or just drill into it.
Yeah. So the
we
weights
do
I
that.
could see, I think like a strap could work. But I think it needs a little bit of pressure down to get optimal signal.
But here's Chris is highlighting a strength of EEG caps, which
Oh,
is
yes.
you can put all types of things on your head, like over-the-ear headphones.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite comfortable.
Question for you about references. One of the things that I found kind of annoying about the unicorn is that they like to do the mastoids back of the ear, reference type thing. And is it and they use stickers for the weirdest reason.
Yeah,
But
same here.
these are stickers also?
I think both GTech and ANT chose that because many of the studies for which ERPs and these caps are used are clinical, so you want to have standardized ERP measures, and if you have a reference that is somewhere else, like your ear, first of all, it's not touch-proof, and secondly, it's going to be a different reference from the mastoid. So the mastoid is here, right?
Right. Yeah.
I also thought that ear clip electrodes aren't the favorite thing of people who would like to wear earrings while doing their study.
Here you go. Yeah, great thinking.
Good point.
So to chime in for Ore, he says he used to put weights on the top of the Notion 2, and he has a question for Chris. Would that work for people with locks or an afro? I guess that's just a question for electrode caps in general.
I think yes. I mean, I've
It's
seen
really-
it before.
It's really thick hair in those situations.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, there is a known bias for electrodes manufacturing, but we do have people with dreads wearing the caps. Of course, this is a measure smaller than my head. I have a big head, but you can think that caps come in large, medium, small sizes, right? You have to find your measure, but I think it's possible, and you have to account that maybe with dreads you account for one more measure.
yes. We experimented with the. All right, there we go. Let's see. Try the computer.
But at some point, if the dreads are just in such a way, I mean, they're going to be this tall, and then how are you going to fit the electrode in there? But I remember when asking AJ questions like, "Hey, does the Notion 1 support long hair?" And he sent me a picture of a dude with really big dreads, and it fit just fine.
Yeah, I think the thing about the
Hey,
hair,
Ori.
hey folks.
Or
I
he
think-
doesn't have very thick dreads in
So
comparison.
the thing about it is that like it changes, right? It varies per day. So in terms of like hair placement, which is one of my, I mean, I still use the Notion. I use well, since the Crown has arrived, I haven't really used the Notion as much. But in such instances, I have scenarios where it works this way today, may not really work that way tomorrow. But now that the electrodes are a bit flexible, I'm trying to give it a go and see, if that actually helps some way, somehow. I was just kind of curious as to like with bigger caps like these ones that you actually put all the way on your head, if it's actually really detecting anything or it's just more like noise at that point.
Well,
Yeah, it's a great question.
It's almost like having a thing without strong placement, right?
Let me show the electrodes again. Maybe.
Yeah, look at these electrodes. They have a lot of prongs, and they're quite long. But the prongs are really close.
Oh, okay. I see.
and if it's okay, I'm gonna share my screen and show you kind of like when we started, we wanted the most robust solution for hair, and
How long
so
did these go ahead?
we ended up going with the wearable sensing. Just make sure you guys, everyone can hear me okay, right? Yes. Okay. Great.
I remember seeing this because this is the company that supposedly business to business sold that Neurable headset for VR.
Right. So if you look at these dry electrodes that Wearable Sensing made a few years ago, they're metallic and they're really, really high quality. I mean, they kind of set out to make the highest quality dry electrode they could, and you know, flexible is more popular these days. But here's what I wanted to just sort of highlight the VR one that you saw off Neurable. So this is their kit, pretty much, right here. This is what the Neurable VR kit looked like, and their typical version is going to be the DSi 7 or the DSi 24. And
Those Neurable ones look like they're the size of almost your palm. How big are these ones? Also about the size of your palm too?
These are pretty big. This weighs like 3 pounds. It's quite sizable.
Because when they're bigger like that, it seems like it'd be easier for you to wiggle it and get it in between the hair as opposed to something that's the size of your thumb.
Well, do you see this little hex setup on these electrodes? That's because these actually spin around. So what you do is they give you this little hex key, and you put it on the hair. You have an impedance screen that they give you, and you basically turn the electrode with a key until it spins into a position where it's making good contact with the scalp and it's got the hair out of the way. So my point is, this is kind of like the most robust system that you can find out there. And I felt like it still had a lot of problems with hair. And what do I mean by saying it had a lot of problems with hair? The difference in data quality between an electrode that is being occluded by hair and one that is not is significant. And so can you get decent signal through hair? Yes. But are you going to have a difference between the ones that are going through hair and the ones that are not? Absolutely. So that makes it really hard to compare. In addition, the more electrodes that you're trying to put on, the 7 would sometimes take 5 or 10 minutes just to get good impedances on all the channels. Finally, one of the things that starts coming up with hair, and I don't know if any of us have discussed this, but these silver metallic electrodes that most of these use tend to short circuit if you use any hair products that have silicone or silica in it. So there's a couple of problems with the hair. It's if there's I'll start.
You mean like a ground loop type of deal? Like how does it short circuit
it's the same way that, like if you sweat, it would just short out an electrode. If you use like a silicone based conditioner and you put on these electrodes, it creates the same kind of spiking that you would see if you were sweating on your skin.
I need to think about this before I put on my headset, and I'm like, did I put any hair product on today? I know it absolutely. I use like Aveda stuff, but still.
It's something to think about because we had one subject that we couldn't use their data. We had no understanding what the hell was wrong. And then we looked into it, and the conditioner that they use is incompatible with the electrodes. So, Ori, I was going to say, not only could it be your hair, you might find that making sure your conditioner doesn't have silica in it could help as well.
There's another thing with the wearable sensing electrodes. I don't think they compensate for artifacts, right? These kind of devices.
The wearable sensing does try to. It has a common mode follower electrode that actively subtracts. So above and beyond the references, they use a CMF for additional noise reduction.
All right. I'm thinking about how is that compatible with active shielding?
Well, their electrodes have the active shielding too. By the way, I don't mean to sound... They put all the fancy tech into their gear. And that's why I use them as an example that says, even with their stuff, hair is a challenge. It's certainly not something that's unsolvable. But we found that doing esports research with young kids is great. Because if you can find someone with a shaved head, ooh, that's perfect. Like, can't get easier than that.
I think the way that people deals with different thickness of hair is modulating or changing the height of the prongs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can reach the scalp with your finger and then go through, then equivalently can the electrode, right? Because this is a little bit like it has the same form factor of a fingertip.
But it does feel like that stuff is more prone to shifting. Like the way that hair shifts and moves an electrode is a little easier. Yeah. Sorry.
Is this
There-
much
there-
Perfect.
smaller? Is this much smaller than what you have there, Chris?
That's a dot fighter. No, it's more or less the same form factor, the same
Yeah.
diameter.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the Dotweiler works so far, because I know when I first tried the one I had on, I was even wearing the smaller hair electrodes, and I still got some signal. I got it through the hair up to some point.
Yeah,
I figure with this, I'll probably even get much better quality. So that's pretty exciting at least.
yeah. Mind you, that fighter also comes with different length at ease, so you can ask that fighter to print it out in the preferred length.
Hmm.
So they do it as a tooling service. So
Yeah.
if you have very big threads, then you have longer prongs.
Yeah.
I know it's normally a problem, but I think that Weiler or whoever has molding tools then can solve that.
Hmm.
I would like to have a better protocol for hair for the experiments that we do. For the most part, we just kind of hope, and we either get good data or we don't.
No, that was a good discussion because it's always well sometimes overlooked as a problem,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's good to discuss it. I've seen a post on Twitter recently about this.
Well, I was surprised about the conditioner thing because one of our big sales or one of our ideas with dry electrodes was that you don't have to shower to be able to do a recording. That just adds a lot of complexity. Like you can get a student wearing a dry electrode in a school for a half hour and it doesn't disrupt what they're doing. But like if he has to do the whole setup, it's complicated. Um, but Yeah, the conditioner is a challenge because then it's like just another compound. Like you can't really plan on it.
Got it. And there is an equivalently good solution, which is nets, EEG nets. Similar to AGI. Now ANT came up with its own net, right?
Hmm.
It's a premiere because we will soon launch it. But that solves some of the problems because they are water based or saline based.
Hmm.
And if you have a strong conditioner, definitely will not beat water.
Sorry, I just got distracted.
So did I.
But yeah, I mean,
Apologies.
it's not that we're beyond
Yeah.
like gel on the head. I think the first time I tried playing with EEG was the Emotive Insight, and I needed to apply gel on the head and everything, and it was still exciting but cumbersome. And has been one of my biggest barriers to even just sitting down and recording anything. Whereas with like the Neurosties, and I can just put it on my head and just because most times like you really just want free form EEG activity too. Like if you're
Right.
someone who's just kind of hacking on stuff, right? You don't really know what. I don't have any preclusions on what I expect the data to look like. More of I just want to collect good quality data as easy as possible, right? Not me having to what's it called, do a gel thing.
Well,
Well,
so for instance, the Wi-Fi on the crown is another amazing thing because every other experiment we tried to do with Bluetooth is limited to 5 feet of the collector. But with the crown, I was able to go sit in the garden. I've actually wanted to do a baseline of sitting outside with eyes open versus sitting inside with eyes open and see how much like the ambient noise changes your brain activity. Now I can do it. So I think that the hardware form factor, the electrodes, the battery, the Wi-Fi, the fact that it's programmable, the haptics, really, really makes the crown a very compelling device for experimentation.
how's the crown dealing with head movements? Do you get artifacts from that?
Good question.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I can't recall if there. I don't recall if it was a conversation I had with Alex or AJ a while ago where they mentioned they were exploring some work to do with regarding to that. And I think it also kind of helps that they have like active electrodes too, like I mean active amplifiers in there. So hopefully they can actually use some. And there's some interesting things that could happen there in terms of detecting little movements, but I don't really know if it's documented or if they've actually done it in air quotes.
Yeah, because the capacitive coupling of the electrodes with the skin is the one that creates this problem with movements. Although it only happens if you have cables, right? So probably the crown, cut down to the chase by not having the cables, and probably artifacts are grossly diminished. Yeah, it's a smart design.
Yeah.
So I mentioned I got the active electrodes from the Conscious Labs kit that goes with the Ultra Cortex. And there was something I had wondered was whether the cables, somebody said the word cables. I think it was Chris. I was like, man, they look thicker. Are they shielded? And I looked up the part number from the cable, and it says 90% shielding. So there you go. Much better than what the Ultra Cortex has, the default with the dry electrodes. With these thin little electrodes, worst case, running all the way from the forehead across the head.
Yeah, that's not
the
shielded.
back.
But yeah, so are they shielded
There's
in the
my
sense
antenna.
they're coax, or they have also,
I think it said coax. Does that mean it's
the difference is that your coax has a conductor around the signal, which is the internal conductor, and there is a conductor around that is then grounded somewhere, right, to a shield, right? And it would be interesting to know, because active electrodes, they are great because they amplify on site on the electrodes, but also they are not really great because they introduce some additional electronic noise in the higher frequencies.
I didn't really see the higher frequencies so much. I did notice a reduced noise floor. If you really want me to look up the part number, I can look it up. I'll share.
It's all right. I guess they Conscious Labs, they don't use active shielding, right?
I don't know. That sounds expensive, but I do know I looked up the roll and it said 100 feet of the cable that they're using. It's like $600.
The
100 feet is long.
100 feet for $600, so it's not cheap cable.
Right. Right. My best bet is that it's not active shielded. So it's probably a buffer amplifier with amplification factor of 1 on top of the electrode.
Right. The wearable sensing electrodes are passively shielded in the sense that they have an outer ring of the electrodes that are fake. They don't actually have power. They don't measure anything, but they basically create a sort of virtual Faraday cage, and then inside you have the actual electrodes. So again, I thought that was kind of neat, using an outer ring as a barrier and then an inner ring as the actual sensor.
Yeah, but the cup, whatever shields the electrode, only shields from EMI. Right. It doesn't shield from movements of the cables.
Absolutely, right. And with all these devices, I think how much pressure you apply to have the sensor maintain contact is a constant trade-off, because if you weren't worried about comfort, you would have it pretty strong for signal quality. But if you are worried about comfort, you want it pretty light. So it's kind of like hard to find that balance.
That's one of the things I made sure to take pictures of. I can take pictures of the finished version, but in the setup videos, that was another thing I needed to do, was check that if there was anything wrong in their tutorials. And the cables are like out there, flying out there, and I decided to just bend them around the Ultra Cortex a little more, and then print a few extra little of those clips and make sure it was extra stable. So I guess the only point that the cables would move now is basically where they connect to the Cytom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how does Neurosity do the shielding? Is it something in the plastic, or do they use shielded cables and then they just put it in plastic and then they don't worry about the plastic?
I think the shielding is not necessary in terms of cables because, you know, there's hardly any cable. You know, they have a case, or they have a twist lock originally they had a twist lock mechanism of the iodine electrodes, right, with a figure of T on the side, a non-conductive side of the electrode. They went inside and then locked in like an IKEA bolt. But now they chose this design, which is a clip-in design with a dot filer. And I think on the other side, you have the IC connector, right? You have a sort of a printed conductor tracks going inside the module. There is a YouTube video of the assembly of the Notion on YouTube, you know, that shows the components.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you've got that. I mean,
I should have to dig it out.
okay. No worries. But yeah, that would be a nice video to check out. Oh,
yeah, and the crown is yet different, right?
Right.
One thing I thought was interesting about the Conscious Labs electrodes is I went to their website, and it seems like they're really trying to sell electrodes that can be added to a bunch of other things. And they also sell these headphones with like massive active electrodes all over them. And they're based out of Paris or something.
So the electrode is the headphone.
No, I'm saying that Conscious Labs is also selling a really expensive set of headphones similar to, so now I know of 3 companies that do that. Neurable, Enophone, and Conscious Labs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
And I asked Andre in a meeting this week.
Motive has their earbuds that go inside the ear.
That's right. That's another cool option.
iDon also released the SDK for iDon released the SDK for the in-ear electrodes too.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
iDun, IDUNN.
IDUN.
Yes. Yeah. So that's 5 companies. We've got 3 with over the ear, and we've got 2 with in ear that are known to do that. And theirs is backed by iDun's has backing from Microsoft Europe in Switzerland. So that believes somebody believes in them, and it looks like they've already got an MVP on those in-ear headphones. Andre, the creator of BrainFlow, I met with him in a meeting this week, and he's able to add the Enophones to BrainFlow because he has them in person. He's got a pair, so that'll make it. It's always faster to make things when you have a set.
That's great. They just didn't create a separate data stream, but I looked to see. I didn't see that support added, but as soon as it does get added to a repo that gets pushed, I'll definitely check it out.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have it soon. You're going to have it in BrainFlow, just like everything else, because Andre has a pair.
Beautiful. So that's great.
This thing right here is the Dryode. This is just something that they are selling now, and it exists. And I think it works best on like the forehead. I don't see this as working in the middle of the hair. You're going to have to do some more digging to find out the fact that they're doing these in-ear things.
Right.
We had Abigail Holland from NeurotechX Toronto working on that. She was part of NeurotechX in Toronto. She moved to Switzerland now. She was working on them.
Oh, I think she joined some of our hack nights.
She did
a while back.
And she was in the NeurotechX Diversity Initiative.
She's a fantastic lady. I'm super happy to hear that she's active again. That's wonderful.
I'm pretty sure she's working kind of hard over there.
She's in Sweden now?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Sorry. The amount of activity in Switzerland, France, Sweden, Germany, Austria on this stuff is pretty surprising. I mean, it's wonderful to see.
So full story of iDun. I think it's the CEO is a female, which is cool. And Severine
is COO now. She was
COO,
CTO.
okay, something like that. Yeah. but it came out of where else in Switzerland? ETH Zurich.
Yeah,
They
probably.
come out of there, and they made these dryodes, and then they're working on stuff in the background, and then they get funding from Microsoft, and now they are going. It seems like they're going full steam on the in-ear electrodes,
Mm-hmm.
because that's got to be the most expensive thing they've made to date.
Did anybody try at OpenBCI the how did I call it? This soft prong electrodes from Iden?
I
He
haven't
just
had
showed the one product that they
Mm-hmm.
have, which is the dryodes, and I don't know of anything else that was ever sold, and I've been around for about 3 years.
They were working on a product I forgot the name of, which had soft prongs, a little bit softer than the Dutweiler that Ora showed, and they were made out of rubber with inner conductive ink inside the prongs, and it was really comfortable. But I didn't know if they, they launched it officially.
You know what? I can show y'all some of the Conscious Labs up close.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've spoken
I'm about
with
to
them.
have to put my son to bed, so I won't be around for the last hour. That's extras. Yeah, if I got new stuff, why not do an unboxing?
Mm-hmm.
That's extra stuff. Here's the picture.
Yeah.
So this is what I meant by I might end up using the regular dry electrodes on the back of my head because they're not really that long, and I have thick hair.
Oh yes, we do have 5 somehow on the stream. Oh, I see. I can only see 4 on the browser, but we do successfully have 5. We have Valeri.
So it comes in this little. I'm going to do an unboxing right now. This is the Conscious Labs starter kit. Back in stock at OpenBCI. I'm going to put it through its paces to make sure the documents are okay. And it comes in little bags like this, 4 electrodes per bag. And then here is something that you attach to the top of the Cyton to provide power to the active electrodes.
Mm-hmm.
And what is kind of cool is that the Cyton seems like it was already made for this to happen. There's just 2 pins. I don't know. And then you take them out. And then here are the thick old cables that I was talking about. And here's one of the flat electrodes.
Oh,
Chris,
nice.
you were mentioning conductive. It doesn't look like they painted over this. It must be the material itself.
I think the secret is that in the bulky part, the back of the electrode there must be a buffer amplifier.
Yeah.
So there is a line coming from one of the micro DIN connectors there. It goes from the Cyton shield, the adapter that you showed, down to the amplifier to, yeah, exactly. On the micro DIN connectors there should be a power line going to the amplifier.
What you mean?
To bring the current.
Yeah. So when you were saying, hey, are they connecting something to the shielding, like active shielding? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because they just get a heat sink here to cut off the cable. They put the DuPont connectors on that side. And let me see if I can show this. Here, rather than take it apart, I'll just show this image. So they have this connector that screws in, which I was hoping they could make something longer and then I could screw that in there. And then that touches this conductor that touches the wire. The cool part about this for the Ultra Cortex 4 is that when you adjust those little screws on the 3D printed headset, it doesn't rotate the thing. So it's super cool.
Nice.
And what's the 3 lines? Why does it have 3 lines? Is that a bipolar electrode?
The 3 wires,
Yeah.
positive, negative, and signal.
Oh, it's the battery.
Yeah. I mean, it's for the active part. It means
Yeah.
positive and negative connections.
Got it. So it's one signal and two active.
Yeah, positive and red wire, black wire, and then white is signal.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like a battery. You're connecting a battery to this.
Yeah, and I'm expecting that makes the battery drain faster.
Potentially, yes. You
And
draw
then
some
here-
current.
Here is the actual size. Here's my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
You can see they aren't really that long.
That's nice. Is the texture pleasant on the skin?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I
this-
was also
with the
pleased
springs,
with the. Mhm.
This is much a comfort factor. It increases the comfort factor of the Ultra Cortex tremendously.
Yeah, I just 5 years ago putting those on the first time was like, holy Moses. So I'm so happy that we have good electrodes now that are not.
Well, it's essentially the same type of electrodes for the crown, right?
Yes, and these are excellent. And I'm just talking about the old spikes on the Ultra Cortex were hard.
The thing the crown probably has going for it versus the Ultra Cortex, especially if you go up to like 16 channels, is weight.
Mhm.
I'm guessing that the crown probably weighs a little bit less than a whole head device with 16 channels on it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what's
it's really-
interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, what
It's
you
really
can't-
lightweight. It's really lightweight. I got a friend here with one of them, the crown, right? It's really lightweight.
But like I said, so here's what it looks like out of the box. If anybody's watching this, for everybody, as more for people that are here just to see.
Mhm.
We all like new tech. We all like seeing new things.
That's great.
And I was really impressed with the frontal electrodes, the signal to noise quality, and seeing beautiful blinks. And I did some focus and made some in the latest version of the GUI that we pushed out, 5.0.6. I added an auditory feedback function. You just press a button, and then it'll adjust the volume of a peaceful music.
Wow.
So,
And Richard, is the Gale also mounting the Conscious Labs electrodes?
no, those are custom.
Cool. And then, do you produce your own electrodes?
Are we designing and then having people make them and then putting them on the device ourselves?
Sort of,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Yes. But the cool thing is that since we have these like literally on hand, I believe we're able to A/B test with these versus
Nice.
dry electrodes.
Right.
versus
Yeah,
the ones that we're
that's
making.
nice. Mhm.
Cool. Yeah. And it's nice thing that you improve the comfort factor.
Yeah, we don't. This is a third-party product, and it's cool. I'm happy. I'm blessed to try it out and put it through its paces so I can help other people get started and get the docs right.
They're based
The
out
other
of
thing-
Paris, right? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Nice. The other thing that's nice about these softer electrodes is like skin recovery time. I know this sounds kind of silly, but if you wear these devices for a while, like an hour or two, go outside, it looks like you have stuff all up, your head and your skin. It looks weird because they don't extend the skin as much. Feels to me like in about a half hour, these are completely gone. So,
The
very
cap
quickly-
that Chris wore, is it dry and you can put gel in there, or just dry?
It's dry. Yeah, you don't need gel.
The
It's
unicorn is
uses
hybrid. Sorry.
it uses the concept that we were talking about throughout the meeting, which is the active shielding. So it compensates for the fact that it's not a wet electrode by having a sensible reduction of the capacitive coupling of the electrode with the skin and the movement of the cables, which are embedded in the tissue of the cap. So with the active shielding, you get very high common mode rejection.
Right.
So yeah, the signal, I tried them. The signal is really good. I tried them with BrainFlow.
Oh,
I have
wow,
to
that's
ask
cool.
more about active shielding so I'll understand. Is it something? Is it technology for the cables?
Yeah, let me see if I find something about active shielding. I
I
didn't
get the
prepare.
concept that you said you use a little bit of electricity to inject around your wires and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't prepare this, but I have an article that I can share. Let me share my screen. Oops.
Should have.
Do you see
Okay,
this?
nice.
So active shielding is based on this concept that you do have the electrode, a core conductor, and a shielding conductor around it, right? And what you have is that on the shielding conductor, you push the DC component that you pick up from this electrode, you extract it and you push it back and subtract it at the analog level so that this, this is frequency and this is time, and this is not a great picture, but this is on the left, the frequency spectrum and the time frequency spectrum
Is
of
that
a
mains noise
component.
on the left?
This is noise, yeah, exactly. The red one is noise, and the one on the right side is without noise with the active shielding.
It guts all of the mains noise without even doing a notch filter.
Correct.
Oh my gosh. And it's so cool that y'all put this dock up just to share like, the science of what you're doing. So normally in BrainFlow with typically every device we have to do a notch filter.
Yeah, no, this is done
If
at
you're
the analog level with it's basically a notch filter, a DC component subtraction.
Right.
Oh, wait, so this removes the 60 hertz bump that's always in those charts.
Look at the picture of the wire above, and then there's the data. There's your mains noise, and then on the right there's nothing.
Okay, now you have me interested.
I know. I learned something tonight.
That's pretty cool. So, is this like usable now, or you need to have some specific type of device to use the electrodes?
No, it's usable. You're not. We don't sell the electrodes aside, but if you buy a cap, they're not expensive.
Hmm. And does this have like does the cap have like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, or is like how do you connect that to? I'm guessing
Just
you would
put
want to
the
start
cap
using the
with
cap.
probably with touch-proof electrodes, and you could probably put it with an OpenBCI with the. That's why OpenBCI sells the little touch-proof adapter, so you could do it with any product.
Yeah, I think you would have to hack the connector, but I don't recommend it. It's a medical device, right? So it's
Oh,
FDA approved and so on. So I wouldn't hack into the connector, but the connector it comes with its own amplifier, right?
Cool. Yeah, I think the reason why I asked is I'm just curious as to how long it takes to regular people like me who want to wear EEG headsets at home. With these things I know they take a while. Like that is the improvements that would follow on along. Like I know a couple weeks back I saw flexible what's it called, flexible electrodes inside that you can put inside like the brain. Let me find this. Normally the challenge with placing electrodes in the brain is that, at least from what I've read, is the affecting the shape, right?
Right.
Or longer term effects for use. But with this one, if I can eventually find the tweet which I'll share, it just kind of sat with the shape of the brain, and when removed, did not leave any longer term like defects on the shape. So that was kind of interesting. But when I read it, I was just like, okay, I know this is pretty cool now, but it's gonna take a while before like someone like me ends up using this as a package device, right? That is on the consumer end of things. But the more the consumer end gets better, the more experiences you can actually start to enable that people care about.
Totally. And what I did to have it more on the consumer side is I worked together with Andre to make it available on BrainFlow, because before we sold also the software, but I asked permission for sharing the amplifier data extraction mechanism with Andre. So we got this SDK out with BrainFlow. So now it's usable by consumer.
Oh, that's
So
pretty cool.
the connector is not touch proof.
Connector is touch proof, but you have to combine it with its own mini amplifier. Let me see if I can show you the kit here.
If it is touch proof for your caps, because I believe somebody else in the forum in the OpenBCI forum has asked to use an amp headset.
So this is touch proof, and you need this.
Could you unplug the connector? Are you allowed to show us that? That's a proprietary connection.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's proprietary, but at
So
least it gives you the idea of audio, what you were asking.
Yeah.
that thick cable, that big thick cable, is that the part that has the active shielding?
Correct. This is the active.
Okay. See, that's another reason why they're doing that, because that proprietary connector allows them to get the connection for that active shielding.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that that's gonna take a while to get to. I mean, there's form factor too. Like there's the improvement in like signal quality and how to better enable experiments. And then there's also like, okay, going beyond that, if you want to actually now start, I don't know, getting regular people to use these experiences, I feel like, especially with neurotech stuff, the only way it can be is like if it's just quick and easy, not too much hacking or bio setup, which is great for the layer that we are in. I guess you can call it like a layer 2 or something. But for someone who is just curious, that's why people would still buy like a Muse and slap it on, because they can easily just see things right away, even if they don't have any experience in like the technology behind it. And sure, like, I mean, I'm not the one who's going to argue the science of, meditation and flow and whatnot. They write their papers for that. But yeah, I'm excited to see how these things keep on going. Like in the next 5 years, what you're talking about, hopefully there's been a way to have that active, then become like this much shorter that can sit beside the motherboard or what's it called? Any of this, like these kinds of devices already have chips in them, right? I don't know how that's going to look like, but maybe.
I think probably that device doesn't need any active shielding because there is no cable. It's so short. It's so
Yeah.
stable within the case that it doesn't really need that.
So all that it needs is it's just the electrodes that's used, or I'm trying to understand the real difference. Yeah, if you wanted that type of experience.
Potentially, the electrodes, the dot value electrodes are really good.
Yeah.
They're really good. So yeah, when I advised AJ to use them, he took me seriously, and they have this AgCl silver chloride contact with the skin that is optimized for the sweat, and it's the best impedance. I think the baseline is about 200 300 k ohms, which is sufficient, right? If you remove DC, then you have a nice signal.
Yeah.
Does the Neurosity have mains noise?
What's that?
Do the Neurosity devices have mains noise?
I think so. Everybody that doesn't do active shielding has main noise, and then you have to, like you say, to notch filter it out.
We had one guy on the forum. He was like, "I need to modify the GUI to modify the filter," and I would just, with being as polite as possible, said, "We're using the BrainFlow filter." And he was basically saying that the BrainFlow filter wasn't good enough for what he was trying to do. And me and William were trying to explain, like, you've got a lot of mains noise, bro. Are you putting your head next to a wall outlet or something?
Well, what is BrainFlow doing? What kind of filtering?
We're using the filter from BrainFlow in the GUI.
But is that notch filter based out of band stop, or is that a digital filter with a bandwidth around 60 hertz?
I guess he was asking if he could change the width of the filter, but that doesn't really help it whenever I saw the photograph of the FFT, and
It was big.
It was through the roof. I don't know what he was doing. There must be a lot of electricity near where he was.
Yeah, I think the intensity counts because even a notch filter has a certain level of dB rejection. So if the noise is super high, and then you can remove some dBs of the noise, but then you are left with the others, with the other dBs.
There was one case a few years ago of some people in Korea, and they swore they were in some type of office building, and I just didn't trust that because I think like a high-rise building, maybe that's what I pictured in my mind. And then they finally said like we went outside and it was fine. So their building was just atrocious.
Maybe the printers, a lot
And I
of
never went there. I never saw a picture of the building, but I just knew from looking at the FFT that
good catch.
that's what I do. I look at data and I know things.
That's what we do, eh?
Yeah.
Cool,
It
nice
is funny
discussion.
Yeah, it is funny that after you look at EEG for a while, you'll kind of spot things that are very hard to describe to people. Like, where?
And
well,
we're in like this realm of stuff that even maybe doctors don't know about. They're like, that's not supposed to be there, and we're like, yeah, you're right. But they're like, they don't know why it's not supposed to be there because it's an error.
Well, one of the cool things about InfoSec was finding stuff that the developer didn't know was there. And I know that sounds trivial and obvious, but people really think that their code works as they wrote it instead of the way that it works when it's running on the hardware. And so you are kind of discovering all the emergent things, and so it's cool to see the overlaps. I mean, here we're exploring the brain, and we have this kind of functional mandate the same way security did.
Hey, you guys, to switch topics, are you, Richard and Valerie, are you gonna go to the NeurotechX Toronto meeting next week?
I would like to, but I will probably die from lack of sleep.
What day of the week?
Yeah, it's next Wednesday.
That's the one with someone from Divergence, I think, right?
Yeah, Alex need. Let me pass the link here in the text chat. So you can subscribe here, and then you will get all the information. We have Alex Nee, CEO of Divergence Neuro, and then we have Kyle Mathewson from Blueberry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really decide on where I was going to subscribe because it looked like there was a meetup, but then that takes you to a Crowdcast, and then you have to subscribe there. So I guess just do it on the Crowdcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to attend the Crowdcast is free, and the meetup you can RSVP. But it doesn't really matter. You can do either ways.
Okay. Thanks for registering for the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
So y'all are gonna do like an hour or 2 hours of presentation and then discussion, or?
Yeah, like tonight we were gonna conversate. There is an open discussion at the end. There's gonna be presentation at the beginning about the science of FNears and the business model of Divergence Neuro. So please attend.
Yeah, I think Wednesday is going to be kind of like a business product showcase discussion type of thing. And then, I think that Thursday calls kind of fit nicely as more of a technical hands-on demo projects type of showcase. So yeah, it's going to be kind of cool. I think this webinar, for instance, I kept as unlisted because, we're doing all the private stuff, whatever. But when we really get things rolling, I plan to start booking guests for these Thursdays and then having us do specific things. Like maybe we demo a piece of hardware and then we talk about it and we have a general discussion or something. But yeah,
the first part can be anywhere. If it's a 3-hour meeting, from 1 hour to an hour and 30 minutes, half and half, or 1/3.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity to make these more dynamic, and I'm excited. So it's great to see Chris setting up their series, and yeah, we've got the Hack Night series going as well. So it appears that we've migrated platforms successfully.
Yeah,
I have a question. Did Kyle Mathewson make the HEG Duino?
No, I don't think it's him.
Somebody else made that. He was
Josh
coming to
Brewster.
Josh. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is
it's
that
gonna
the
be.
same thing as FNIRS, or is it
Um, I'm not sure. I think
that's
yeah.
thermodynamics? It's different.
I think I would have to look it up myself, but it's not EEG.
It's not EEG. Somebody dropped it. They wanted the HEG Duino and the GUI.
Hedge Duino. Let me say, there is a nice site.
They don't understand though that it would have to be added to BrainFlow first for me to consume it.
So it's on crowd supply, and yeah, real time brain blood oxygen levels. So it's probably a bold device. Yeah, so it's a FNIRS device. One channel. Here you go.
I really want Kernel to sell those things individually, and I want one of those and attach it to my Ultra Cortex in the front.
Well,
It's gonna be
also looks
expensive.
like wearable sensing is competing with them again. I'm gonna share for just a moment.
Oh, really?
Chrome, yeah. So right here. Um, Here is their product. Obviously, it's not quite as fancy. They still have these, but now they've got this combo electrode, which let's look at it here. Look at this. So they've got.
Ah,
I'm guessing these are the
Whoa,
OPM lasers, and then here's the silver electrode array.
is that EEG embedded inside FNIRS?
Yes, that's what it looks like to me.
That's sick.
You have 1, 2, 3,
sick. I think
4.
it's kind of sexy.
Mm-hmm. 4 pairs of those FNIRS emitters, and then you've got that EEG electrode. So that's what's inside these big plastic housing things. Is
Wow.
one of those assemblies. You got the
Yeah, it's
outer
really,
ring of FNIRS. Sorry, what?
I said it's really big, but it has a lot of nice stuff in here.
Yeah, right. I think the form factor is definitely bulky, but the tech is pretty good. So it's one of
Relatively
those.
speaking, they're close to the size. I mean, hey, it fits on the head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but each of these pads has a bunch of electrodes or receivers, like nine,
Yeah,
10,
yeah, eight receivers, I think.
9. No? Is it? Oh, 8.
Yeah, I think it's 8. 2.
And where's the
Let's see.
transmitter? Is that one light or 2 light frequencies?
It looks like it's got triple frequency ultra bright LED emitters.
Haha. Optrodes. Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting to get one of these as well. One of
So
these
bold
assemblies.
is the name of. Okay, it's the type of blood oxygen level. Okay, it's the type of response that we know about scientifically that can be measured.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically when the activity of the neurons go up, they utilize, because of their increased metabolism, they utilize more oxygen, which gets extracted from the blood supply of the capillaries, and then you can measure that differential by measuring the blood oxygenation decrease or increase from the capillaries, from the blood vessels.
So you can the video Graham showed. I don't have it handy on the YouTube, but showed Graham Moffat, the former chief scientist of
Interaction.
Interaxon. Yes. Thanks. Chris. He's got a new startup with a VR headset, and they do the FNIRS EEG stuff, kind of like a Galia alternative. And I think he had a video.
What's the name of his endeavor?
I don't remember the name of it, but they just did that poster for submitting. He posted it on Slack.
He's on Twitter. He's all over on Twitter, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. No, there's another Graham.
Okay, here is Neuroergonomics Showcase. Let's find. I'm sure it's going to say his company. System 2 Neurotechnology.
System. I just found it.
That's funny. So apparently it takes us about 30, 40 seconds to get. Here's the video. Yes, I've got it now. All right, I'll share. All right, are you able to see the video?
Yeah.
So it's the blue and red stuff in the bottom right that the FNIRS kind of provides. So like as you can see that the blood flow changes as they go around the circuit.
So this is a spectrum from the FNIRS?
Yes, he's got the EEG here.
Uh-huh.
He's got the FNIRS here, so you can see both together. You can see the EEG FNIRS correlation. So these sensors up here, I think, are the FNIRS, and these electrodes are the EEG.
Okay.
I
Yeah, it's a
believe.
frontal FNIRS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, this is the demo video that they released.
And where did you find it? Is that Twitter?
It's on their website. Hold on a second. I will share it in chat. And if you click that link, it shows up on that first page.
All right. Nice. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm going to have to leave.
Sounds great. Yeah, I think we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Thanks for dropping by, Chris.
It was a pleasure and great discussion.
Yes, wonderful chat. I'm glad for a tech demo. I think this worked great. Thanks for stopping by, Chris.
Bye. Have a
Cheers,
good night.
everyone. Forward to
Yep.
this stuff on Friday.
Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up the meeting here. I think this was very successful as our initial kickoff. We talked about hardware. We got the Crowdcast platform working. I think it's phenomenal. So we're gonna declare victory and push the end broadcast
Yay.
button before any disasters. So Valery, thank you for joining us again from Belarus.
Wow, from Belarus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
is it
it's-
4 in the morning or 6 in the morning?
Well, we started at 4 a.m. and now it's 6 a.m.
Ah, there we go. So it's both of these things. Well, anyway, thank you for ruining your sleep schedule one more week by joining us. And next week, so we're actually going to be looking at Valery's IPython notebook and looking at the spicy data next week. So I'm going to get that prepped, and we're going to use the notebook as a primary means of comparison. And I'm going to put a bunch of PDF reports that you can also look at and take with you, download, whatever you'd like to do
Cool.
outside the notebook. Yeah. So next week, and we're going to publish the webinar. I'm going to announce it on like Monday, Tuesday this week. So we're going to get everything rolling official like.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you all for coming, kicking the tires, and hope you find these series of webinars interesting because we're going to be keeping it rolling just like Chris on Wednesday. So thanks again.